Incredible. I mean, and there's other stories of visitors, like Crazy Days and Nights has done some reporting about Epstein's Island and people secretly going there to indulge in their,
Okay,
particular interests. So Kevin Spacey, even before that, he got sued in civil court by that person in New York. They had him pigeonholed. Well, not,
but
they had him tagged as somebody who was interested in those types of
let's not forget,
encounters.
Trump has his own island too. He has a $13 million piece of property on that island, $13 million mansion on there that was untouched in the hurricane. But I think he still got some money for it. And it's a boat ride. It's a tiny little boat ride or a little private jet ride of 10 minutes to Epstein's Island.
That's interesting you say that, because in one of the Sedan stories, there was a story about people taking the boat in so that there's no record
Exactly.
of a flight. So people would just not fly with Jeffrey. They would fly into some other place and
Give me
then
a break.
boat him.
Those flight logs, it's a private pilot, but you can write anything there. Half of that stuff is misspelled. It's illegible. You can't figure out what And also, too, what was the other thing is Trump, too. Epstein's flown on Trump has flown on Epstein's lawsuit. We know that from a deposition of Epstein's brother. But Epstein's flown on Trump's plane. We know that. There's an article in Gulf Digest, I think it's called, and the guy who wrote the article, the original article, talking about when Trump said, hey, that's some high-class pussy, best pussy money can buy, something like that. But he wrote a second article talking about how he was on Trump's plane. They were waiting for Epstein and Maxwell to show up, and when they was late, and Trump was saying, hey, you don't make a private pilot wait for, blah, blah, blah. He's making a joke. And they brought with them a little teenage girl who was made up to look older. He doesn't know how old she is. He's not making accusations like everybody's afraid to do. But come on, you got a guy here this is his focus in life, 24 hours a day, is little girls. And he's got a little girl with him on Trump's plane.
Right. So, I mean, but that's the whole thing, that you see these little vignette stories, is that's probably what Epstein was doing for decades,
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
Before Bush. What's that?
There's no doubt. This is his life's focus. He's hanging out with guys like Woody Allen, and all these other characters, And he, by the way, too, just recently, Steve Bannon went to visit Epstein. We don't know what they went to
that's
talk
right.
about.
Recently, yeah,
Yeah, this is all bad. Come on, it's under our noses. And Bannon,
and
by
you
the
did
way,
that show about Bannon's peculiar lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's called
meth making, possibly. Who knows?
The Porn and Meth House. There's no doubt that Steve Bannon's ex-wife down there was involved in porn, involved in modeling, all this nonsense. Cops were at that house. The guys who lived there afterwards, I interviewed him. He has a background that's very interesting himself. All the people around that story have an interesting background. I can't say legally, but the thing is,
right, I understand.
Okay, because it's a crime to name people's occupations, what you suspect they do. But the thing is what do you call it? They have studies of the meth down there. They have police reports. Bannon's wife was caught trying to smuggle marijuana and a cell phone into her boyfriend when he was in jail. Okay, all this is not some kind of bizarre. Porn stars showed up at the house looking there. But what was told by the people that lived there, is that there were padlocks on the inside of the doors and windows, keeping people inside of that house. And at the very end of that interview, if you listen, it's in the Opperman Report members section. He says, and we're hoping that this will escalate because we've talked to the police, we're hoping this will escalate into a greater investigation into human trafficking and other cases in Palm Beach.
Wow. Yeah, it's just incredible.
Well, and we can have this whole conversation without once saying Lolita Express and Pedophile Island, because there's a lot going on.
Right, because there's more than that, right?
Yeah, the whole New Mexico, man. He was hanging out with the governor of New Mexico, who's another Clinton guy, another big shot. I forget his name at the moment. But he has a big ranch down there. A lot of stuff went on there, too. It's in New York, New Mexico. Forget the island, man. But still, too. Trump's got an island there. There's boats going back and forth. There's plenty of traffic to that island. It's undocumented.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that that's like in the super global elite, getting an island and having a place to go to is it's like the cherry on top of your wealth. It's not uncommon for a lot of these rich people to have these islands in the Caribbean. Nexium was involved with what's that one guy who owned Virgin Airlines? Nexium was down.
Branson. Branson.
Yeah, Branson. So there's pictures of them together partying.
Yeah, well,
so all these guys are up to not really savory things at these islands.
Yeah, there's a lot of photos of Richard Branson out there floating around too, and also to what's his name to Adnan Khashoggi. There's all kinds of things of his shenanigans going on there. He openly admitted to being involved in prostitution and human trafficking when it came up to Linda Mills, or Paul McCartney's wife, the one-legged woman. But that was the one time he ever admitted, yeah, I've used prostitutes. Her. But otherwise, God, look around this guy. And he's another Trump buddy with his own island. Another guy, too, is Copperfield. I've had people come
right.
to me.
He has an island, too, and there's all kinds of shenanigans about him on those islands, too.
Really credible allegations about him. I've done a whole show about it, where then after the woman who reported him was chased around in different states and arrested on other charges, and to totally silenced her, man. So whatever's going on down there, there's something going on there. But a couple of things, too, about my interview with Michael Gross and the stuff I've done about Trump and his family and these kinds of things, too. I was going back and forth with Tom Arnold, who's doing that the tapes. He's trying to come up with the tapes for Vice TV. And so
he's trying to get Trump.
Right. So I contact him with some blockbuster information that I think is blockbuster. Turns out he knows everything I know. He knows everything. This is all common knowledge. Everybody knows about this little 16-year-old that worked, this is not even in the press anywhere. You can't get this stuff anywhere. But everybody knows these stories. And he comes back at me with something I didn't know. He's talking about, he's talking about the case of Jared Kushner's father. I think it was Charlie Kushner. Who he wanted to donate money to politicians so badly that he was creating fake accounts and fake partnerships and stuff like that because he had to donate money to Democrats, mostly, by the way. And he gets caught doing this. His own brother starts cooperating with the FBI and Richard Christie's office.
Right. Christie was involved in the prosecution of Kushner's dad, and that's why he got elbowed out.
So Kushner's dad, I think it's Charlie Kushner, comes up with a plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hire some prostitutes to go and seduce my brother-in-law who's testifying against me, and then I'm going to blackmail him.
Right.
So right off the bat, I'm thinking, what kind of sleazy guy does this? How would you let your daughter marry into that family? That's the kind of thing I wouldn't want to be involved in, right? Me, because I'm a silly goose, right? But what I find out is, from Tom Arnold, he puts out a tweet saying teenage Russian prostitutes.
Wow.
The girl in that case is a teenage Russian prostitute.
Wow. So that's always skipped over in that case. They never talk about it.
It's just a prostitute. I've been looking for it. I can't find it. It's a teenage Russian prostitute, according to Tom Arnold's source. But the thing is, man, this is what I'm talking about, man. There's so much going on here, There's even a connection, too, between, I can't talk about 100%, but I think you would know off the air we've talked, is there's a connection between Stormy Daniels and the Katie Doe lawsuit. Okay, and Mueller's not talking to anybody about that stuff. He hasn't contacted anybody about any of that. Let me ask you another question, too. Everybody's doing the sign of the cross when they talk about this Miami Herald article. How come no one from the Miami Herald contacted me to say, hey, man, what do you know? You're a professional investigator. You've been working on this longer than anybody else. What do you know that you can't talk about on the air? Let's talk to us off the record. Hey, we want to hire you and pay you a couple of bucks.
Right.
How come? Why not everyone
else? Maybe they listen to all your shows. You don't know.
Yeah, but everybody else who listens to the show contacts me. They want to talk about this, except for Mueller and the Miami Herald. Okay, who else? You know what I mean? Well, what's going on here, man? I'm very suspicious, and I'm a lot more cautious than I was 5 years ago when I first started talking about this, because there's many levels to all this that people aren't even scratching the surface. And if I can wake up one day, I get a message from Tom Arnold of all sources, and I'm scratching my head saying, "Whoa," and I'm hearing these other things from people like Michael Gross and these young girls. There's got to be even 10 times more than that out there.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Ed, we're at 55 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to follow up or kind of close up with?
Yes, I would like to close up with a nap. William Ramsey, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate this. It feels good sometimes to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about, and to get and to get this off my chest. And a lot of stuff. We didn't even get into Ben Sass and his connections to Dennis Hassert, who was accused of molesting these wrestling kids, right? And they're connected. He worked for Hassert,
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know he worked under Hastert.
Oh yeah, and he's a wrestler himself. You know that good old Ben Sass.
Oh,
And yeah, he visits these high schools. In fact, he was in charge of the House Page program. Remember the whole scandal about the Page?
Yeah,
yeah, good old Sass. He must be a hero in all this, looking to uncover bad things.
But where can people hear your interviews or your Epstein shows? They can go to your website, Opperman Report, and your YouTube channel and subscribe.
OppermanReport.com is the website. You can go there. There's a special member section with about 400 hours of material, exclusive stuff you won't find anywhere else. There's documents in there. There's all kind of Epstein documents, Trump documents, videos of the search warrant affidavit. My show airs Friday nights and Saturday nights. You can find it on Spreaker, iHeart, YouTube, iTunes, American Freedom Radio, People's Internet Radio, Public Streaming Network, IPM Nation. A lot of different internet stations carry it. You can find me if you need to hire a PI. You need somebody who knows what they're doing. Emailrevealer.com. You can get email tracing, online infidelity, forensics, cell phone forensics, computer forensics, asset searches, adoption investigations. I'm a working PI. I work full-time as a private investigator. You got a problem, get a hold of me. I can get you out of it. Okay. Thank you so much, William.
Awesome. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, bye. All right, we're